Hey, welcome. Welcome to Consider This. My name is Anthony Van Luton, and my co host, we're going to talk about the struggle of being a human being. How we come into the world, we're a blank slate, and we are just writ to experience life and to gain all the knowledge we can. Unfortunately, some of the experience and some of the information we absorb is not helpful or useful. And so it is the human's plight to struggle. Life is hard. Life is going to be hard, but life is supposed to be hard because that's how humans grow, by navigating life when it presents itself. And if we find that we don't have the information or the knowledge to successfully navigate it, we can go to a resource that is familiar with that challenge and can help guide us to successful navigation. And we're going to cover over the 26 weeks various challenges that all humans are going to face. It's just a part of being human. Um, we'll get honest about um, fairness. Life is not fair. Life has never been fair, and life will never be fair, right? It's about a whole change of perspective about how we view life so that the fear of navigating life won't have such an impact on us. Today, we're going to talk about the influence of society on humans. And we touched on it in the last show, the emotional intelligence segment. We talked about the conditioning that a lot of humans um, experience in life from grade school. We're conditioned to follow the herd. They condition us to sit at desks for 8 hours a day. There are bells ringing to signal some type of action. We are dissuaded from showing our individuality or our uniqueness. That's, that gets shot down, and in my household, that gets punished. And so over the years, we become compliant. We learn how to conform, and we learn how to move with the herd. And so there's less of our uniqueness. Our spirit has sort of been, pushed out of the equation. And so we struggle to follow society's norms. And so today we're going to talk about the pressure to conform, versus our innate desire for individuality. Um, I suppose from birth, we're sort of raised you know, um, to follow the herd. Um, we're afraid to let our individuality show. Um, that begins in grade school. And so now we're working a job, we're conforming, 8 hours at the desk, no different than grade school. And we are um, waiting for instructions from the authority figure, just like in grade school, right? And so basically, they sort of teach us what to think, but they don't teach us how to think, right? And so even as an adult, I have to ask my boss or my supervisor, what is it that I'm supposed to be doing, right? Um, an attempt at creativity might, that's a visit to human resources. Oh, that's the principal's office, huh? That's the principal's office for employed people, right? And so, again, the conditioning is there. And you may find that some of your struggles in life might have to do with that conditioning. So, we're going to talk about that today. Um, so, um, we see it all on social media. right? People looking at snippets of other people's lives and then wondering why their life is not so wonderful or why they can't have what those people have in the snippet, right? Just told what to think, not how to think. We don't think that this is just a 15-minute video snippet of their life, but we don't get to see what their life is like 24/7, right? We don't get to see how sloppy the room is. We don't get to see, how in debt they are, right? We don't get to see any of that.
Also, if they are having a good life, we don't get to see how they manage that.
Right. Okay. So there you go again,
How they
right?
manage that. Yes.
Just,
What
just
exactly? How they? What exactly? Took to get to that place right there.
no, they're not usually help videos. They're more, you know, what do you call it? Clickbait,
Yeah.
right? I need
Exactly.
you to click
Yeah.
on this so that I can prosper, right? From the amount of likes, from the amount of views. And so I need to make it as sensationalized as I possibly can, right?
Things become really irrelevant really fast today. Like I noticed when I was younger, and even when I was just younger, all ages, that things, it would stick with people if you learned something or something came around. It would, say like a song. A song would stick around like you would never. Now, 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and that song is forgotten about. And it's the same way with people with things or caring about things. A lot of comedians get on that. Like, you can't even remember the name of the girl who just, you know what I mean, within 2, 3 weeks. What was her name again? That did whatever or whatever happened to her. Like, so same thing with social like clickbaits, you forget all about it and you on to the next, you
Yes,
know.
we may have talked about that aspect in the first video, but also in a part of 126 is going to be about those interpersonal relationships, right? How we can possibly engage another human and not be cognizant of their nature, right? So society sort of has us operating up in our brain a cognitive existence, right? But we don't talk about the fact that we're animals, that we
Mm.
have a nature, right? And so we just disavow that that even exists, right? And so when we talk about relationships, we might want to consider that part of that relationship is going to be in the nature area, right? When
Versus
people are
nurture.
versus nurture, when people are attracted to each other,
Right.
right? Are we even aware that when it comes to animals, right, we're exuding pheromones and
Mm.
hormones,
Right.
right? Humans have an aura about them,
True.
right? But are we even aware of it when we engage another human being? We have been focused cerebrally in our head. That's where society wants us, right? And so my engagement with you is going to be based on my judgment of you. First thing I want to know is what do you do? Right? I'm not even aware of the aura that you and I are giving off and receiving right there in that moment, engagement. It's about what do you do? And I'm going to judge you less than this guy over here. He just told me he got a PhD. I'm going to judge him higher, right? Because that's the way
Yeah.
society has me looking at other humans in a judgment perspective. It's not about how your personality melds with mine and how we get along, and it's not about that. That's the nature thing, and they don't want us thinking about that. It's about what you do, and that's
The more money, and that's been the change too. The more money you have, like the more you're being that judged on that level where it at least seemed like, because I do know,
it is that way. This is
you know,
if we're talking about America, we're talking about
yeah,
capitalistic,
yeah,
right?
elitist.
Right.
It all falls in on those.
Well, the elitist could just be an aspect of being human,
That's what I mean.
right?
It could
Right.
be,
Okay.
because you got your poor elites, like people who make a certain amount of money, let's say over $50,000, $60,000, might look down on a person that make 25,000. You know what I mean?
All human, all
I got
human,
you.
right?
I got
and,
you.
and so, yes,
got you.
I'm capable of thinking that I'm better than
Yeah,
or less than,
yeah.
right? But I,
Or you're less than.
right,
Yeah.
or that I'm less than,
Yeah.
right? But again, this is the reason why we do the work. It's an inside job, right? I need to understand what perspective I'm going on that would allow me to lessen myself from somebody else, or to put myself above somebody else, right? And if it's the money, if it's the material stuff, right? I might want to consider working on my perspective about what's really valuable in life. And so we talk about the challenge of being human, and because we may have been conditioned to conform, there may be an issue with life, the struggle to be creative. But we have been conditioned. So is this conditioning keeping me from being creative? Is it like sort of stunting my desire to, let the world know that, I play drums, all right? I ain't making no money from the drum playing. I love playing drums, but, right? And so society's going to say, just like my parents said, right? What do you want to be when you grow up, little boy? Oh, I want to be a drummer. No, that don't pay the rent, right? And so now you got to conform, right, even more. You need a 9 to 5, right? Work a job. And it's a belief that my parents would be proud of me if I get a job and work a 9 to 5, right? But there's other aspects of my lifestyle that my parents may not approve of, right? Again, we talked about this in the other thing. They're not clear about what life would make them proud of me, but they can clearly say they ain't happy with the life I'm currently living, right? That's about the only thing they can be clear about. And so we want to talk about the importance of understanding that you will never, ever be successful trying to live the life that your friends and family want you to live. It's just not going to happen because there is an individuality in each person's spirit. Now, the fact that it's been conditioned to, keep its mouth shut, not to reveal itself, well, there's your life challenge. Now you have to figure out how to override, how to overcome the conditioning, and then how to release this spirit, right? It's a belief that if you are able to access what truly makes your spirit soar, you don't have to worry about monetization. When you do what you believe in, 10 toes down and put all into it, it's going to monetize itself.
My thing
Automatically.
is, what do you do when no one believes in your dream? You know what I mean? That's that person. What do they do?
What they do?
Because it's only a few people, that. Well, they talk about the ones who
It's the conditioning,
made.
right?
who made it from nothing.
It's the
You know what I mean?
conditioning. It's the
Like,
conditioning.
the other 99 of us that didn't become Samuel L. Jackson, you know what I mean?
Who
Or
conformed.
yeah,
Right.
what you know?
It was
what-
about grades, right? It was about grades. You had to get those grades, right? Of course, we're talking about how many people are on the planet? Billions, right? There's
Yeah.
going to be some individuals who,
yeah,
for whatever reason, and can they even share how that happened, right?
Yeah.
Are able to access their spirit and then go 100% into it. And it's true that it monetizes itself.
I remember this homeless black girl. She had like rose up and put herself through college. Like she worked the hardest hard out, and I was in thinking about that as I was watching it. I was like, wow, like that's a one in a million there. Like
But
like,
the thing is, all she did was continue the conditioning, right? She took her situation and just continued to comply by going to a high level of conditioning to school. She still has to chase the grades, right? She still
did.
has to.
did all the
she still
things.
has to
Yes.
comply,
yeah,
right? And so, people who say like Elon Musk, for example, right? And so he's a nerd, technology, right?
but maybe because she was by herself doing it, she had no friends, no, you know what I mean? Like that was a deep one, and that's one thing I talk about, that hood thing, where you all friends or you're like, I had a niece that had at the age of 15, 16, my nephew just let her run wild, and she was a beautiful little thing, but she had all these girlfriends that she hung with that was all be all at. That was, all in the crib all day long and chilling, and they snickered and told secret stories over in the corner. Old uncle sitting over here recuperating from his accident. I'm trying to get her to, but well, anyway. Long story short, by 25, she died in the middle of sleep from popping pills.
Birds of a feather.
So she
right?
never, and when I was stepping up trying to get her help from other family members, my sister, her grandmother, they basically turned her back on her.
Right, because
They
look,
let her crash and burn it
from
15 on,
and it's not
But
so much.
they didn't let the other three that I just mentioned earlier, because it's the same family members, didn't let them crash and burn.
Well, I have two brothers, right, and we were raised under the same roof.
Gotcha.
Right? Got the same philosophy from the adults, from the powers in charge.
No, but I seen them.
And the three
I
are
seen
three
these people
unique.
basically, listen, let this girl crash and burn.
Now,
I've
when you say
watched-
let, look how much, and this is another thing that we in society might believe to be true. Like my parents, right? My parents believed that they owned me, that I was a property of theirs. The reality is you don't own your children.
That's true.
You don't own them. And once you bring them into the world, right? This is almost like some degree of acceptance that you don't own them, and you got to turn some stuff over. Now, my parents use authority, the need for me to have their roof, the need for me to have their substance as a control, right? To conform, right? To not, go against, right? And so once I'm out of the house, now I'm free to be who I really am. But the conditioning is there so that who I'm trying to be is an individual that will make them proud, right? And so you were talking about if I as an individual have a dream and other people don't believe in my dream, right? It's an unrealistic expectation that other people are going to believe in my dream. That's my dream. And if I need, what do you call it, outside validation, I'm in trouble to begin with. We're all human, right? Everybody's a human. Ain't nobody perfect at nothing. We all got skills, but we don't know everything. You have some knowledge and information that can help me in a situation that I'm struggling with. You have some wisdom, I have some. But it's not unless we engage each other that I can get the information that you have that can be helpful to me, right? And so what happens is parents think they own their kids, but these kids are their own individual people, right? And so they're going to go and experience, explore life, and absorb information, and you don't have any control over it. None. It's almost like when you share a secret. If I was to share with the viewers today about my history, I have to understand that I no longer control that information. It's a wrap. Once I put it out there, everybody's free to do what they want with it. However they want to interpret it, what they want it to mean, whatever. Same thing with children. Once you bring them into the world, that's it. You have no control of another person. It's just not possible. My 3 failed marriages prove that, right? I thought that because they married me that they was all about me. And, why wouldn't I think any other way, right? But we're never going to be able to control another human being. So we got to get to the point where we understand, stop trying to control what you can't control. It leads to frustration and then leads to anger, right? But then you have to have the skill to be able to identify what you can and what you can't control. But most humans just try it throughout their lifetime, trying to control stuff they ain't got no power over. And then get frustrated and angry. And this is a dynamic that happens a lot in the family, right? I want the best for you, but you're not doing it the way I think you should do it, right? I want to have some degree of control over what it is you're trying to do.
You also got that crabs in the barrel syndrome where your siblings and your parents don't want to see you become anything, and they're doing it on spite or whatever.
Well, okay, they're human, just like me, right?
Yeah.
And so when we talk about needing validation from other humans, you're asking for trouble.
I got you,
they
but
got problems
here it is.
just like everybody else. If I need them to validate me, why would I need struggling humans?
But as a child, you have no concept of that, especially if you see any portion of it being totally different from that.
We were conditioned to seek the validation from our teachers, from the authority figures, our parents, right? And so, no. That's what I was saying in the last video. You and I, at our age, we have to get it on the back end. We have to recognize that we have been looking for validation from other people, but that other people were just as human as we are. They're just as fallible as we are, and they're making as many mistakes as we are. Mm-hmm. They're successful in some areas, right? Nobody is, successful in all of it, and everybody doesn't know everything, right? So we all have a degree of knowledge and success, right? But if I need to get validation from another person, another human, who is not perfect, I think I'm setting myself up for some trouble, because their validation is going to be based on their thinking, from their history, from their life experience, right? Something familiar about my dream that now they're afraid about it, and they're trying every kind of way to keep me from following my dream, because in their thinking, there's something bad about what it is I'm trying to do, or something dangerous about what it is I'm trying to do.
Or they just hate you.
Well, all right.
Like, honestly, I gotta be for real.
I guess that's possible.
Because I've actually seen it. I've actually grew up with
Okay.
those
All
who,
right.
hated their own siblings.
As long as they were human, that's okay. If they were aliens or something, then I would want to talk about that. But yes, because humans are capable of loving and hating at the same time.
True.
I want the best for you, but I hate the fact
But you
that
know
you're
what?
successful
I-
and I'm not.
And I said this one day. I said to somebody, I said, why don't you just tell me, to leave your life, just to get out of your life? If you had to say it that, but
I'm not going to
they
say that.
actually kept
What? Because
me or a
I'm-
person
I'm
hanging
getting,
on
I'm getting some. I'm
for
getting
years.
Something. I'm getting something.
Exactly.
I'm getting
That was,
something.
that
I'm
was the
getting
whole.
something.
Yes, exactly.
I'm getting
That
something.
was the whole
I'm
premise.
getting something.
Listen, you was good for,
Wait, wait.
whatever it was.
So check this out.
I was using you.
It-
Like,
Are most humans looking for a perfect human to be a partner or significant other? Right? I think we talked about how society doesn't want us to be a part of our nature, right? As a male, I'm not talking about man or woman being a society construct, right? And so they want us to play a role as a man and a woman. But I want to talk about the nature, right? Male and female, right? These genders have a person, a nature about them.
a specific
Females have a
guideline.
specific nature about them.
Yeah.
Males have a specific nature about them.
Right.
Because we're animals, right? Just like any other animal.
Got you.
Except we have a brain, right?
Right.
So now we have this additional information in our brain, and a lot of it's BS, ain't really based in reality, right? And so it might be going against our human nature as animals, as male, as female. In society, they want us to play a role when it comes to man and woman, right? A role that's not even defined, right? Maybe your male nature don't fit in playing a role that society wants you to play, right? Because there's no defined definition for what a man or what a woman is, right? You leave that undefined on purpose so that your woman can scream at you, "You ain't no man," when she's angry at you, right? If there was a list of criteria that you could complete, then you could throw your certificate in her face.
Right.
I did this. Yes,
Right,
I got much to
right.
do. I'm a
Yep.
man. No.
Yeah.
No, right? So that's dependent upon
That's
how
good.
good she feels. If you get a big rock, it'll be like, "Oh, you're the man," right? And so when we talk about being human, we have a nature. Males have a nature, and females have a nature. And what happens is we meet the opposite sex, and we are not aware of the pheromones and the hormones that are flowing. We're not aware of the aura that we're both giving off. But we are attracted to each other by nature. And usually, this is true for most humans, it's wonderful in the beginning. It's all nature, man. We are just, going on nature.
Right.
But as soon as the human shows up, oh no, I ain't. This chick can't even cook. Oh no, this nigga he don't know how to wash his. You know what I'm saying? As soon as the human shows up in the relationship, now we got problems.
Well, this woman is just cuckoo. Everything she thinks.
Well, whatever,
everything she
whatever,
say out her face
whatever.
is just some backwards.
You trying to
But
figure?
she cute as I don't know what.
You're not even aware why you were attracted to her in the first
Because
place.
she was cute and
once
sexy.
you start to experience the human of the individual, now you can't understand why you're even in this situation. Why am I with this person, right? Because you wasn't attracted to the human. You was attracted to
Yeah.
to the nature.
Honestly, a lot of times, and I try to warn the youngins, it's lust. Like, it's lust.
I guess that's what they call it. I want to be
That's the
careful.
old school.
I want to
Yeah.
work on the language I use.
Gotcha.
I think it's just nature,
Gotcha.
and it's
Okay.
natural for us to be attracted to
But
the
see,
opposite.
some brothers are more smarter, and I admire those guys that are, they're more about accomplishing the things, and they're not letting that aspect drag them down
Right.
and
Well,
keep them,
but you're talking about again, right? So this is the pressure to conform, right? Versus the individuality. Sure, they can be successful in the career they choose, right? And so they're saying now that so many women have gone after a career, but this is their conditioning. Now, they done hit the wall at that age. They have no experience at relationships.
right?
They have no experience. They have no knowledge or understanding what takes a healthy relationship, right? Because they're all up in their cerebral. I want a man, but there's no definition, right? If you wanted a male, there's plenty of them out there, right? But you're not going to allow him basically to run on his nature, right? You want him to perform the role of man, and the role is so subjective that the goal line moves depending upon, you know, who's labeling, the man or the woman, right? We're just playing a role. We're basically acting, right? And
That's
again,
so true.
we're acting,
Yeah,
right? We're
so
we're not
true.
being authentic because authentic would have to include our nature, right? And so society is not for that. Society is not about that. And so we may be attracted to people by nature, but now we have to face the fact that they're human. And now we have to make a decision whether we're going to be okay with the human parts, right? How much of the struggle of this human am I willing to accept to make them my significant other? How much are they willing to accept from me to make me their significant other? Right? Because there's no doubt there's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. And your experience and my experience have defined things differently. So when we go into a relationship, we're interacting with the individual based on our experience and them with us on theirs. And there's a little twist there about the human stuff, right? What you believe is healthy and what they believe is healthy. What you believe is not healthy and what they believe is not healthy. It's all human stuff, right? If you want to be in a healthy relationship, maybe you need to know what are the components required to be in a healthy,
That
right?
takes too much deep thinking for people who are not deep thinkers, and they just, and I understand
It's
that
a skill.
now that I'm
Right.
the age I am, but when I
Right.
was
Wait a
younger,
minute.
I
Right.
had no
Because
idea.
because you weren't supposed to. Society didn't
I
want
had
you.
no
They did not want you
idea.
to worry about that. They wanted you just to show up for school on time and follow the line. Get in line and when the bell rings, go to your seat and do what you're told to do. And ask the authority figure, the teacher, for permission to go to take a piss. All right? This is what all of that human stuff would have made you stand out, would have made you unique, different. And that would have made you the difficult child in class. You need to go to the principal's office, right? And so that's that conditioning. But now we're talking about you had me for 12 years. Why not teach me how to be in a healthy relationship, how to engage other humans in a healthy way? You had me for 12 years, right? Why not teach me about my feelings, my emotions, emotional intelligence? Why not teach me this stuff? You got me in your school system for 12 years because you had a different agenda. You're teaching me geography and math and things that can benefit you down the line. Then you got me going to an institution of higher education, learning the same stuff because your agenda is that I'm going to benefit you when I graduate. And I don't understand the conditioning. I don't even see what's happening to me. I think that by getting this degree, I'm growing, right? But all I'm doing is making my utility more valuable to society,
Right.
right? It's not helping me grow as a human being,
Right.
right? It's not teaching me anything relevant to being a human individual with a spirit, right? Again, I'm continuing to learn what to think, but not how to think, right? And if I show any display of not being with the herd, I'm going to catch hell,
Yeah.
right? And so by this time, I already know not to, not to refute the professor, right? I already know not to, you know, stand out. So whatever they say is what it is. And so when we talk about the pressure to conform, it comes from everywhere: family, friends, the job, the school. Everything that we're involved in is pressuring us to conform. Where is the environment that will tell us, no, follow your spirit, man. Go on out there. You're human, and it's human nature to go out and explore and to absorb knowledge and experience. And no, no, where is that environment that is? Now that we're talking about, this the new thing in society is now health and wellness, right? Now everybody's talking about health and wellness. Now everybody's trying to change the paradigm. Now the focus is on me and my health and wellness.
Right.
You never educated me to be able to focus on myself. You never taught me how to be self-aware. Everything you always taught me was about care for others, right? Everything you ever educated me about was, doing for others.
Yep. That was from the 60s to the 90s. That was permeated throughout. At least that's what they wanted everybody. That's what I'm talking about. I was saying earlier, the humanitarian. So I remember that word being bandied about a lot in articles or whatever from different publications who wanted to get the information out there. But that's one of the words that I remember: humanitarian, doing for others, helping others, fixing others, feeding others, giving others money, making sure, but it seemed like from the late 90s on, it's been, me. My son told me that he said, Dad, you don't understand. He was 16, so he's 46, 47 now. He said, Dad, you don't understand. It's about me. And at the time, I didn't get it. At 16, I was like, what is he talking about? Come on, let's go do whatever we doing, and it didn't. And it took me a few years, but I finally start getting it. I finally start seeing how, the change of the I remember growing up, and if I was broke and my boy had $1, I had at least a quarter. Like, that's how we were. And I'm talking about even to hundreds and thousands of dollars. You broke, man? Oh, here, got you. Like, and we took care of each other, honestly. It's, but by time the 90s and late 90s, 2000s, people wasn't like that. If I had a Cadillac, I want my friend to get a Cadillac too. Let me show you how I get this Cadillac. I got one, man. Come on, man. Like you. But it started being like, I got a Cadillac, and the best I want you to have, even being right next to me, is a Pinto. Because you can't outshine me. Like, that became the normal, and that's the way it seems like today now. Everybody, the crab in the barrel syndrome, or, everybody trying to take you under, or buck your position at work or with a girl, or, you know.
Well, I think that's a part of human nature since man. since the beginning of man. I'm sure even in the caveman days they had that jealousy as a part of their human nature. I'm sure that when it comes to friendships, right? You and your friends have spent time together, and that history is important. And so, yes, if I have $1, right, you get 25 cents,
At
right?
least you can get his 25
At least
cents.
you can get his
I had
25.
some that would
Okay.
give you 50,
But what
and I would do the same for them.
what changed is not society. What changed is those relationships. That's what changed. A friend who wants you to have a Pinto when he has a Cadillac, he got a death wish for you. You know Pinto was a death trap.
Yeah, but I'm just
Somebody
saying.
hit you
like,
from the
yeah.
back, you go on, bro.
But they don't want, the
don't
Oedipus
want-
complex.
right.
And I noticed that with a lot of my friends too, the Oedipus complex.
Well, we're talking
where the
about
son is-
human psychology.
Gotcha.
We're not studied and knowledgeable about that kind of stuff. We're just talking about simple human everyday stuff that we have to experience that we might be able to do something about. Right? That deep, that's why they got the professionals. Like you want to get a professional for that, right? Because remember, we only operate in our conscious mind, right? Today, I'm going to do the right thing, right? Right here, right now, I'm going to do the right thing.
Right.
But I have a history of not doing the right thing. That's in my subconscious.
Gotcha.
And I'm not skilled enough to access it. That's why we have professionals. Just because it's not in my conscious, right, what I'm going to do today, I'm going to do the right thing today. I've got a history of not doing the right thing. That stuff is still there.
I got
And so I won't do the right thing all the time. Sometimes it's going to revert back to my history because it's still there, right? So when we talk about inside job, there's work to be done for every human, right? Every human goes through life thinking that they don't stink. And no human would consider even taking a look at themselves. No human would consider even looking at themselves. It doesn't matter how many friends and family say, I think you should talk to somebody. I think you need help. Right? No human thinks their stuff stinks until they have that life event that would cause them to even consider that maybe I should take a look. But most humans go through life thinking that there's nothing wrong with them, that their behavior is fine, no matter how egregious we might think it is. They don't think there's anything wrong with their behavior.
That's basically what they're calling a narcissist now.
No, that's what they're calling it. It's just being human.
I got you.
There's no reason why a person would start to look at themselves, based on wait a minute, you're a friend and family. I know a little something about you too. And you ain't all perfect, so who were you to judge me?
It's so funny that the politicians are using that, and our Mr. Big he uses that a lot. That same logic that you just said. Like, I know about all of y'all. How you judging what I be doing? And I know about all y'all. I know all your tricks and trades.
So,
and that's what he was saying.
So
in
when
2016.
you use the narcissist, right?
Yeah.
And so the professionals are trained to be able to identify that, right?
They have been identifying it.
Right,
They've been saying that since 2017.
Okay. And so
Right.
this is an individual who is skilled at manipulation.
Yes.
All right. And so as a human, I know I'm guilty of manipulating people, right? I was unaware of it, but because I had a need or a desire to get something from them, I had to employ this skill that I probably was unaware I had, right? We talked about people pleasing, right, on the way here, and I was a people pleaser, right? So I'm always helping people, even when it hurt me, right? But if I made a request of you and you denied me, I'm going to run down everything I've ever done for you. And I'm going to guilt you into doing what it is I want you to do without any concern with how it's going to impact you. Right? That's true people pleasing. So I wasn't helping anyone genuinely. I was sort of putting a deposit in the bank. Everything I did for you, I'm just putting a deposit in the bank. Remember the Godfather? He said, I'm going to help this guy, but one day I'm going to call you and I need you. Now I need you to fix my son. He's all shot up, right? That's all I was
I
doing.
have noticed I'm the exact opposite. I'm taking everybody's secrets to the grave with me. I often say that. Like, I know so much about people. Even some of the people who I know they turned on me and tried to slander me or whatever because they know I know their stuff because I was helping them through their stuff as deep and as diabolical as it was. But now that you know I know, and now that you are either under it, like you found out or whatever, so everybody starting to know about you, you throw it to me. You throw the hot potato to me. Oh, yeah, and I'm that person who don't go, well, here's the real story. You know what I mean? Like, here's the real story. No, I just take it to my grave. I'll be the villain.
Well,
My ex brother-in-law used to say that all the time. He used to say they nicknamed me the villain, and I'm like, okay.
I want to be sure. I would want to be sure within myself. Why would I divulge that information? Right? They may be doing what's considered dirt to me, but what is the benefit of divulging what I know?
But see,
about
that's become big today. I don't know whether you noticed, but people divulging people's dirt is like the it thing to do.
Really?
Yes.
I'm not
all
sure.
the rappers, everybody snitching on everybody.
Yeah, I don't think.
No, it's the same thing.
I don't think they're giving out data. I think they're giving out opinions. I think they're giving out assumptions.
No. I'm talking about some things that are. Some things that are deeper and like courts involved and everything else. Like they're really.
Well, if the court's involved, we're talking about actual facts.
But because. Here's the whole thing, but still, like, I come up in the era where people really didn't divulge other people's business. Like, I was raised around that, like, that's none of your business.
Well, yeah.
Real G's don't even repeat what you heard ever.
Oh, what? Snitches get stitches?
No. And I'm talking about the 60s. I'm talking about with old heads. I learned hanging around with the old heads who was the number guys or the guys in the neighborhood who owned stores or whatever. Mm-hmm. And when you get picking up little jewels for them, they were the type who really kept their mouth. They would know things, and they'd be like, you'll never find out from me. Because I ain't that. So maybe it came from that. The same way with my friends when we were growing up, the things we did, we never told. Like, I remember my older brother getting in trouble with his friends and him telling the cops and everything. All of them and he was 10 years older than me, but I remember this as a child. Like, this dude, like, you really read out your friends for some dumb stuff, some throwing rocks at windows type stuff. Like, dude.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm saying, if you catch me, you caught us.
But see, that's the difference. And I am. Listen, I don't knock that. It's just, you know what I mean? Listen, I had friends who I knew they would. I'm never doing nothing with you. Love you to death. We could sit on your step and watch cartoons and whatever we doing. We could smoke weed, but you'll never go on a caper with me.
Right. Because there you go.
Yeah,
right? And
you're gonna come home and tell your mother.
But let's talk about
this.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your ability to recognize personality in your friendships.
Gotcha.
Obviously, there's enough engagement between you and another individual that you become familiar with their personality and who they are, and now you get to choose what you can share and what you shouldn't share.
Right.
Right? But most people don't even get to that degree of friendship. Most people will simply say, do the judgment on your chatter. You know, you talk too much. You know, you always sharing stuff, right? And so this is my reason for not being your friend, right? They don't want to grow by learning how to engage that characteristic. Look, there are billions of people in the world. They ain't the only individual who's like that.
Oh, I know that.
You might need some
that.
practice because the people you're going to meet further along in your life are going to have that personality. You need some experience at navigating that.
And I guess because as a child, all my sisters and brothers are older than me. The youngest one was 6 years older than me. So I mean, when I was 12, she was 18. Mm-hmm. So I'm still a kid, and they're all 18 to 13 years older. 13 years older than me. So, but their whole thing was reporting my mother, snitching and ratting and watching each other get beat. And like they never back me up. Like as I got older and my niece and nephews got in trouble, I never told these parents. I just got them out the trouble and sent them on their way, try to help them. You know what I mean? I never told their parents like, yeah, you know, yeah, he was doing this or that, you know, like, go see what he doing. All right. Oh, they wasn't doing nothing. Like, right. You know, like.
And so he's just co-signing their behavior.
Yeah, right? Listen, I just couldn't, because I was beat. Like, listen, and you know what? Here's the funny thing. Most of them turned out good. Most of them stayed out of trouble. They wound up, you know, like one of my nephews I'm talking about, before he died, he was making $170,000 a year. He was the highest earner in our family, male.
Yeah.
And still, you know, which I admired. Like, he was like a son, you know, he passed early. But he was like a son, a brother, everything to me. Like, we were very close.
Yeah, but again, there is that conditioning, right? We are valuing people by their income.
Got you.
By how much money they make. Right? What about the human, the individual?
I got you.
Right?
It's enough human individuals in my family who have died poor. Okay? My father, my older brother, my oldest nephew.
The focus is still on the
and
money.
None of them were happy.
Well,
none of
life
them,
is hard.
They were actually miserable.
Oh, and so compared to whom? You cannot compare.
Listen, I'm talking about. I'm right with you.
Comparison is a thief of joy. Comparison is a thief of joy.
Never had a girlfriend. Died at 34 years old. Stopped leaving the house at 27. Just stayed in the house with your mother. Like, that's not pure misery.
Well, wait a minute. Humans have mental health, right? Now, I remember in the neighborhood, you know, all the kids ran in a group. There was always one special child. We didn't talk about.
He wasn't special. He was just. He was mean.
He was special.
Like, one thing. No, he was. He was intelligent. He taught me stuff. So he had intelligence.
He had some. Nobody has everything. Everybody got something, right? You learn some stuff from him, right? But his situation, right? There's a reason for him being indoors. What is it called? Is that agoraphobia or something where you don't like to be outside?
Well, his was voices, and like he was paranoid about people. We ain't
talking about voices. We talking about schizophrenia when he got voices. We're talking about mental health. Look,
he didn't like being.
The community would not admit that there was mental health issues in the neighborhood. Everybody knew that the kid was different. And even as a crew, we loved him. He was a part of the crew, but we made jokes about him, right? Not meaning to be, you know, mean or evil, just a bunch of kids not knowing better, but mental health was an issue in the community, and families did not want to talk about it or label it. There ain't nothing wrong with that boy. He just needs a good butt whipping. Right? no, no, no. There was something wrong, right? And so we don't know why this youngster would prefer to be indoors and then under his mother, right?
No,
As
'cause
opposed to out with
she
you guys.
she trained that. Like I was the rebel.
She trained
Since
that.
she trained. Listen, man, listen. She
How come?
trained that.
Yeah. So how
She
come he did?
trained
How
that.
come you became a
Because
rebel? Why didn't you
I
fall
was
into the training?
because I was around. I was around. He hated my dad, my brother-in-law, all of them who was tough and thorough. He did not like none of them. All my
Right.
sister's boyfriends.
Because he was expected
I-
to be tough.
and I
And he wasn't tough.
I gravitated towards them, which made me want to break out and be out. Which
Right.
matter of
You
fact,
wanted to comply. You wanted to be a
matter of
part
fact,
of that
like
group.
I say, he
You wanted to be a part of that
Listen,
group.
one
you wanted to be
time-
a part of something. That's the group you chose to be a part of.
you know
He didn't feel strong. He didn't feel strong like you guys, right? And so he couldn't be a part of that group. That was not the group that he would be comfortable in. That, for you, right? Birds of a feather, right? So we're attracted to. It's the way humans grow, right? We're talking about we come into the world blank. We're going to mirror the behavior of other humans we see. That's how we learn. All of that do as I say do is going out the window. As a young human, I'm going to learn by mirroring your behavior.
well, he did as she said.
I'm going to do as I see you do. For the most part. I might put my own little spin on it, but for the most part, I'm going to follow your behavior. If you want a child that reads, you should be a reader, right? Just telling your kid verbally to read, probably
Oh, yeah,
fall
definitely.
on deaf ears.
You got to teach them how to read.
You
first thing.
have to be the example, right? And that's true when it comes to interacting with other humans. You have to be the example. We can't give our opinion about dealing with this conditioning that we're all subject to, this conditioning to conform, unless you've got some experience with working to defeat it, right? If you're still wrapped up in the conditioning, who are you to give an opinion on how to get out of it or to defeat it? You ain't doing nothing. You're not even the example, right? You're just another one of the herd, right? We need somebody who was able to break free from the herd to help the rest of us with our individuality, because society just really is not about that. They don't want us to be individual. Our spirit might, but our brain and our conditioning over the years says, do not stick out, or you're going to be identified, cited somehow. It's not going to be good for you. So how do we defeat that so that we feel more free to follow our dream? Do we even know how to access our dream?
If you don't have anybody in your corner with you, that's a slim and none. Like I say, I still think of that, the homeless girl. It's been a couple of articles I read where these kids were homeless or damn near homeless.
There's plenty of people who
you know,
maybe like live in the projects who
not
come
plenty
out.
where it's like millions. It's plenty
No.
where it's like a couple hundred
Well,
every
I'm just saying, humans,
every 5 or 6
humans
years.
are capable.
You
Humans
know?
are capable of a wide range
Yeah.
of things, but for the most part,
What is that spark for those couple of hundred people every 5 or 6 years who accomplish that?
Right,
compared to the
What
thousands
what makes
that
Elon Musk?
fail.
What made Elon Musk a different nerd?
Yeah.
That he followed his belief, so that it became so important, and he believed in it so much that it monetized itself. There are a bunch of other nerds who understand technology. They did not push it or force it to the degree that he did.
Sometimes that comes from the backing influence that you have also.
Well, and
No.
and that's good.
Having those people behind you who could put up the money to help you make the money that is
Well,
astronomical.
that would be true for any of us, right?
Yeah.
If you share your dream and somebody who has the resources believes in what you're saying, right? It's like, you know that TV show, what is it?
No.
The Shark Thing?
That's true.
The Shark Thing. You
Yeah,
come
Shark
up
Tank,
there,
yeah.
them with an idea, and they see money in it.
Yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it. You're going to get the back you need, right? Only if people, believe in what it is you want to do. But for those of us who don't have access,
Yeah.
right, we still are responsible for putting all of the effort in to make this thing happen, right? And that's the only way that we get to monetize it, because we are going to follow this dream. We're going to push this goal, regardless of all the judgment from friends, family, the wife, the employer. We are not going to allow any outside validation impact what we believe is the right thing to do for us. For you, not for other people. I'm doing this because I believe in this. Oh, but you don't spend a lot of time at home. I believe in this. You're going to have all of the other stuff, right? I don't see you enough, Dad, or whatever. You're going to have input from family, friends, outside sources. You have to believe in your dream enough to go all in.
First.
You go all in, I guarantee you, it will monetize itself. Whatever the heck it is you believe in, right? Flavored popcorn, you believe that much? Oh my God, look, everybody's buying this flavored popcorn, right? Now they're ordering it online. Whatever your dream is, but you cannot afford to allow outside validation to make the decision for you, because they're struggling humans too. Talk about spirituality. We talk about the need to have a spiritual belief in oneself. There's more to being human than just flesh and blood. Right? Maybe there is a spiritual aspect to being human that we should start to utilize in our effort for goals going forward. That's another one of the topics we'll be covering, later on. But so today we were simply talking about, how to deal with the conditioning to conform without desire to break free and, be who we really are.
But within society.
No. And that's the problem, right? If we're going to be in society, there's an expectation of conformity.
Right.
Right? And so...
And that's where the influence, like you say, the influence of society, it's... But you're trying to make it out here and make it on your own and be as different as you can possibly be to attain your dreams.
As unique, as genuine.
Got you.
Right?
Exactly.
No, somebody might define it different.
Okay.
But it's about you being you.
Right.
Right? And when you're genuine, right, it's going to be there, right? You want to be an actor, but your family's been telling you that don't pay the rent, right? You got to be a Denzel. You got to go in 100%, right? And that means, yeah, no, you're going to be having bologna sandwiches for a while, right? But are you the character that can put up with bologna sandwiches for a while? Make your auditions. Go to your calls. Go to your acting classes.
Wow, it's deep because that's what my little one was talking about. She had put in a few
Whatever it is, you got to go in all
along
and
but,
believe that you're doing the right thing.
And that's what I was telling her because her others, do she want to finish her CPA and get her the next doctorate or whatever, or do she want to go for a master's in international business law or this? What is it? Whether it's models or Hollywood, whatever it is, or in New Orleans, like. And I'm like, hey, listen, one thing, you just pay your rent. You got to work that job. She just got to, so it was a lot of all that. She's facing all of that and decisions on where should I head to next,
Yeah, well.
As I'm going through this turmoil of losing these dollar bills. And it's so deep because she didn't know about unemployment. I said, sweetie, now you go file for unemployment. You just worked that job. You've been there almost a year. I said, they cut your hours. You got the second job, but still those hours are getting cut. She didn't even realize, nobody else had told her. I was like, sweetie, you can get, that's called partial. You can get to cover that so you can pay your rent. So you don't have to, as you were saying earlier, because she's thinking about leaving, cutting her lease and then leaving, going back to Texas with her mom and them. And I'm like, is that what you really want to do? Are you going to be happy doing that? Or do you want to stay in New Orleans?
Right. You got to make the full consideration. Will it be beneficial?
But just having me, because it's, thank you, Papa. Like, you, like, I got her back. Like, I'm not just going to tell her to move back home, if she's chasing her dreams.
Right. Well, I mean, but the decision, you can share the information,
and that's all. That's my job, right?
Yeah, that's all you
my
can
job,
do.
and send her some dollars.
She has to make a decision based on the information.
Send her some dollars and give her the best information that is, like you say, towards her dream, whatever her dream is,
Well, I mean, if you have helpful information, you have to offer it.
Which
you knew about unemployment. I'm familiar with unemployment. You are eligible. Go get that money.
Yeah, that's what I told her. I even sent her the sites down New Orleans, and I knew her county, New Orleans County, and it's Mediterranean County or something like that.
Oh my God! What, you've been on unemployment down in?
No. I just know about. I'm a computer geek, so on that level where I look up stuff for people, jobs, all kinds of stuff.
Well, she sounds young. She's not 24. Into technology. Oh,
yes,
she only know where the porn sites are. Whoops! I didn't mean to say that. They only know with the TikTok and the social media. They don't know how to use the internet for knowledge and information.
These kids are deep, man.
They're not deep. They're pretty surface. Yeah.
I mean, in that aspect,
yeah.
They're deep in that aspect where they know how to do this X, Y, and Z, but you don't know, because that's what. But I was like, you don't know about it. I said, you didn't ask your mother. Your mother didn't tell you. Like, nobody, Pop, you didn't know. I'm the one who told you. Thank God you called me. Like, your girlfriend, your kid, your friends don't know.
What if we were raised in a family that looked down on unemployment people? Oh, I'm not going to apply for unemployment.
Well, my daughter and them, listen, they never got unemployment. So, her and her husband have always been able to work steady. They both nurses. So, and they on call. Matter of fact, they work 16, 18 hours a day when they working, 5, 6, 7 days a week.
The healthcare field is hanging in there.
Huh?
The healthcare field.
Oh, yeah. They're able to, like I say, they're able to send her to college, and they pay all their kids' rents, car notes, and all that kind of stuff. They make pretty good money,
Okay, well.
Which
that could be an example of where conforming to the conditioning is paying off, right? You work your job.
I'm just glad that they had that, you know what I mean? Like, and honestly, that burden wasn't on me. I'm, so, I'm glad I taught my daughter and gave her the little advice and was there for her. You know what I mean? To make sure she continued on with school, even though she had the baby young or whatever. I was like, listen, girl, you don't want to just be a nurse. You want to be the nurse that run all the nurses. And I kept telling her that you don't want to just be anything. You want to be the person who runs that, whatever it is you want to do. And she stuck with it. She found a good dude. Finally, dude number 3 was a good dude, and good. So she was
Well,
lucky.
today we were talking about the influence of society on us as humans, and specifically the pressure to conform, versus our desire for individuality. We hope that the discussion was useful or helpful for you. And if not, hopefully it was for another of the viewers. Our next session, our next topic, well, we didn't really choose one for the next. So, again, we want to thank you for tuning in to consider this. Keep an open mind that the information could be useful to you. If not, maybe to another viewer. And anything last to say, Marv?
No, just keep your head up and
Yeah.
try hard.
Up high and hard. Yes. Keep trying
Yeah,
hard.
keep your head high and just pray and work hard.
Okay.
Work hard. Whatever you're going to do, just work hard at it. Don't give up.
All right. And we look forward to seeing you again in our next offering. Thanks for joining us.